Hello everyone and welcome to week 13 of English 120. This week we're going to be working on our research project, working on our annotated bibliography. We'll also be reading The Valley of the Moon by Jack London, Book 2, chapters 10 through 17. You'll be doing a discussion forum where you practice MLA formatting, and you'll do an active reading journal assignment where you respond to questions about chapters 10 through 17 of Book 2 of The Valley of the Moon. Your annotated bibliography will be assigned and due this week by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And finally, comp class, the last comp class, you guys, is due this Sunday at 11:55 p.m. It's on MLA document format proficiency. So just a reminder, we are working on our research project. This week we'll be turning in our annotated bibliography. Then next week you'll actually be writing a thesis and drafting an outline for your paper, and then turning in the draft of your paper the following week. So the annotated bibliography, tell you a little bit about it, is going to be due on November 17th. An annotated bibliography is a list of citations to books, articles, and other resources that you're going to use for your research project. In it, each citation, you cite, for this assignment, you're going to cite 4 sources that you really feel like you can use on your project. And after you cite the sources in MLA format, you'll include a brief descriptive and evaluative paragraph, which is called the annotation. The purpose of the annotation is to inform the reader of the relevance, accuracy, and quality of the sources that you've cited. For your assignment, you're going to need to include at least 4 academic sources. Now, by academic sources, I mean sources that you didn't just Google and find on the internet. These are sources that are peer-reviewed by other scholars. These are sources that have authors that you can look up and understand what background they have speaking about the topic that they're writing on. These are authors that are published in legitimate journals, or if they're published online, say in a research database from our library, or if you do find them online, in a credible digital source. So we're going to talk a little bit this week on how to do citations. So that's coming up in just one second. But it's a very important thing that you choose sources that you're going to be able to work with. Because remember, next week you're going to be beginning to write your paper. So you want to find sources that really help you work towards writing your paper. And in order to find 4 really good sources that you want to work with, you're going to probably have to find a lot more. So go prepared to the library to really find a lot to work with. So what's the process to create your annotated bibliography? You're going to identify these 4 sources that you feel are relevant to your research topic. Then you're going to create citations for each source in MLA format. Then you're going to write a concise 1 to 2 paragraph annotation for each source that summarizes the central theme and scope of your source, and it should also include an evaluation of the authority, background, and education of the author or authors, and that means the ethos of the author. It's going to comment on the intended audience, so who was this article written for and what skill level or education does the reader need to have to really understand it. Compare and contrast this work with another that you've cited. So where does this article fit in the conversation about your topic? And then discuss how this work explains your selected topic. What perspective on your topic does this work provide? So let's look at a sample annotation. To begin with, you can look in chapter 21 of the Bedford Researcher. That's where you're going to find details on how to cite whatever type of source you come across. For books, there's a great diagram on breaking down a citation on page 338, and for articles, there's a great diagram on page 344. But that entire section from 337 to 356, it's all about the different sources and how to cite them. So here's an example of how to cite an article. Last name first, then first name. Monday, comma, Lisa, period. The punctuation really counts, you guys. Then in quotations, because it's an article, Souls on Ice. Anything that's less than 80 pages is in quotation marks. More than 80 pages, italicized or underlined. Or the title of a magazine or periodical is also italicized or underlined. Mother Jones is the name of the periodical where this article is from. Notice there's a period at the end of the title that's always there, and then the end of the quotation marks. Then Mother Jones is italicized. Mother and Jones are both capitalized because they're a title. July, August is the issue, and 2006 is the year it was published. 39 through 40 through 45 are the pages where this article is found, and there's always a period at the end of a citation. For a book, now this one might look familiar. Last name London, first name Jack, period. The Valley of the Moon, period. Notice the Valley of the Moon is italicized. It could also be underlined. Berkeley, comma, California, colon. University of California Press, period. 1999, the year of publication, period. Print, the type of publication. So here's a sample annotation. After you put the citation directly under it, you'll put an annotation. You're going to begin with a summary. The summary is where the writer gives an objective, that means without your opinion, accurate summary of the article, which focuses on the publication, that's highlighted here in blue, the writer, that's the ethos of the writer, that's in green, the audience, so who this is written for, in red, and the writer's thesis, and on the most relevant key points the writer makes. So for the sample summary, I've written, Mother Jones is a liberal magazine published 6 times per year with nationwide readers. The magazine publishes articles on current issues that are thoroughly researched and written to make the reader think. Noted by the magazine, Mother Jones is an independent nonprofit whose roots lie in a commitment to social justice implemented through first-rate investigative reporting. As a staff writer for the Washington Post, Lisa Mundy started writing on infertility in 2003. Notice how we've established her ethos. She's a staff writer at the Washington Post. She's been writing about this topic since 2003. Okay. Also, notice how we set up the magazine to show why it's a legitimate magazine, why people should pay attention to it. Now here's where we contextualize it for who is the audience that's supposed to read this. Her article is written for the general reader, but also for all those considering IVF, in vitro fertilization, and those who've gone through the process. Now we lead into the actual summary of the article. The article raises awareness to the current and future dilemma of excess embryos. This article points out that in vitro fertilization presents ethical dilemmas that need to be dealt with, but that are often ignored. Couples have basically 5 options to decide what to do with the unused embryos. Use them all to have more children, but how many children can a couple have? Give the embryos away to another couple, but the dilemma is that these children would be full biological sibling to their children and raised by someone else. Donate the embryos to scientific research, but at this point, it is an unborn child, or is it a biological tissue? Let the embryos thaw, but this means death. Keep the embryos frozen, but how long can an embryo be frozen, and should it be frozen forever? There is one more option that couples are choosing to do with the estimated 500,000 embryos, and that is nothing. This lack of action is what is fueling the debate over the unused embryos and what will be the final outcome for these souls on ice. Okay, that's our sample summary. The next section for your 1 annotation, you're going to do 4 of these, remember, is the evaluation. Here's the sample. So in your evaluation, you want to explain why you've chosen this specific article, why you find it to be, including why you find it to be a reliable source. You can discuss how it's reliable, how it's relevant to the conversation, its currency, how logical it is, the style that it's written in, and more. Evaluations don't have to be 100% positive, okay? But they should show that the source has enough strengths to make it worthwhile for others to read and use. So you want to make sure that you're choosing, you're evaluating articles or books that you really do care about working with. Evaluation. Mundy wrote a realistic and credible article on the torment couples are facing with the question of what to do with unused embryos after IVF. Mundy has done her research to write about a subject that is emotional and brings to light the need for guidance and counseling for couples considering this procedure. It is indeed a thought-provoking article on a subject that must be well thought out because of the continued growth of embryos and because of the possibilities for medical advancement through research using these embryos. Next section is your response. This is the final section. This is where you describe how the source affected your opinion. So this is where you get to bring in your opinion. Response. I did not realize the amount of unused embryos that are frozen in limbo. I agree with Mundy that something has to be done. As fertility medicine and procedures advance, more and more eggs are frozen and the dilemma what to do with them should be resolved. As quoted in Mundy's article, this embryo glut is forcing many people to reconsider whatever they thought about issues such as life and death and choice and reproductive freedom. This article has made me think in a new way about this issue. All right, that is your annotated bibliography assignment. So, as I said, you're going to be writing 4 of these, one for each article or book you cite. You're going to put a citation, a summary, an evaluation, and a response. If you have any questions, please come see me or ask me via email. All right, for this week's discussion forum, we're going to have some fun. I'd like you to find something original to cite in MLA format. You're going to watch this video by Professor Reif where she explains how to cite a cereal box by adapting MLA format. As Professor Reif states in her video, using the basic principles of MLA citation, you can cite just about anything in MLA format, as long as you think creatively about how to cite it. This week, I'd like you to find an object or a document or anything besides a book, article, movie, or web page, and I want you to cite it. And just so you know, the most creative posts are going to get extra credit this week. So in your discussion forum, please post, cite your thing in MLA format, okay? Explain how you chose your thing to cite and the process you went through in order to cite it. Look at pages 337 through 356 in Chapter 21 of the Bedford Researcher for details on how to cite your source. You'll see listed here a variety of types of things to cite, from books to unsigned newspaper articles, to maps, to lectures, to musical compositions, to blogs, to online film clips. Find the one that's the closest to the thing that you're citing and use this entry as a model. And make sure you let us know which one that you're using as a model. Then, after you've posted your own, please respond to at least 3 of your peers' posts. As always, please make sure your initial post is posted by Wednesday if you'd like to get full credit. Your active reading journal is posted. There's a lot of wonderful questions on the chapters we're reading, chapters 10 through 17 of Book 2 in the Valley of the Moon. I'd really like you to think about how, especially how the episode in chapter 17, between Jack, the young Jack, who might remind you of someone maybe named Jack London, has an encounter with Saxon. So please pay attention to that chapter. Finally, your last comp class ever for this class is MLA document format proficiency. Please do the research lesson and take the quiz by the end of the week, and then we are done with comp class. All right, that's it, you guys. Next week, we're going to be moving on to Book 3 of Valley of the Moon. We're going to finish Book 2 and then read some of the Book 3. We're going to have another discussion forum and journal, and you're going to draft your outline by the end of the week for your paper. I'll see you guys online.